man, I am really gaining a lot of respect for people like Justin Jackson and Josh Pigford and guys that have podcasts. It's not easy to sound interesting and off the cuff. So this is like my 8th try at this. So this is episode 2 of the Getting To Ramen podcast. And I'm hoping that I get better at it because my wife listened to the first episode. Her feedback was that I say too much. So I'll try to stop that. But there's a lot of other things that I need to work on. Anyways, I'll try and get into it here. So I thought I'd start by telling a quick story. Yesterday morning, my 2.5-year-old, as I was leaving, turned to my youngest and my 4-month-old as I was saying goodbye, and said, "Well, Daddy doesn't need us anymore." And it just broke my heart. But it's just a picture of a realization, it's not easy to do this, to have this life, and they didn't sign up for it. And it, it's hard enough when you're married to somebody who may not be entrepreneurial, and trying to communicate with them that, this time that I'm spending that I'm not making any money at, that nobody's paying me for right now, it's going to pay off. It's it's kind of like in some cases, going to university or something, where it's there's this long phase where it doesn't seem like there's going to be rewards. I mean, in some cases it's pretty clear rewards down the line, but in others not so much. And you kind of have to look at it there's going to be a long, for most entrepreneurs, there's going to be a decent amount of time of failing and learning, and it doesn't look like you don't get a certificate. Hopefully you make a lot of money someday or make a living someday at it, but you don't have anyone recognizing you as a successful in your craft. So anyways, it's just one of those things, trying to balance family and work. And meanwhile, while I'm trying to carrying that and everything, I there's also a drop. Upscribe had a drop in revenue, and it's this happens once in a while. That's kind of common, and I don't know what it's like for companies that are making $20,000, but when you're making $5,000 and revenue drops $800, you really feel it. And monthly recurring revenue, so it's a lot of cancellations that can happen. And I do have some people paying $100 a month, and so one of those, and it makes a big difference. But anyways, that it's kind of it's no fun. And I've got a lot of friends, or a few friends that are founders, and one issue or addiction that we all have is constantly checking revenue. And with baremetrics and tools like that, where you've just got this beautiful dashboard and you're able to check all your numbers, it makes it so easy to just I have it open all day long, and whenever I turn my phone, I'm checking it, and it can be really obviously it's stressful, but it can also be really deceiving if you're looking at the wrong numbers. And so for the last few weeks, I've been looking at MRR, which is an important metric to look at. But there's a few things that I'm finding, that I'm realizing are frustrating or hard about MRRs. One of them is usually have your annual revenue mixed in there. So you got your annual revenue divided by 12. So annual subscriptions revenue divided by 12. And which I find is difficult for me, because that doesn't reflect my monthly, how much I'm going to make monthly, bring in, and that's important, because I'm taking money from that and paying myself. So it's hard. It's when that's not broken out, that can be difficult. The other part, though, is if you're just looking at MRR and whether it's going up or down, and you're not paying attention to churn and new MRR, it can be deceiving. So I'll be more specific. In this case, revenue dropped, and I'm thinking that tons of people are canceling. Like, everyone's leaving. Like, what's going on? And I'm busy with my day job and with bugs from the new launch. Because I just relaunched Subscribe as Laravel, as a Laravel application, and so I'm dealing with that stuff. And I'm dealing with customer service, and I'm trying to show my family that I still need them. And so I don't have time. It's lower and lower down the list is time to spend drilling into analytics. So it's taking me a while, and I'm carrying that. I'm frustrated. Oh, something's going wrong. And then I finally got a chance to look into it, and turns out that churn was totally normal. In fact, it was lower than it had been recently. The problem was that new people weren't signing up at the same rate that they had been. And so something had changed in my, what I realized was something had changed in the onboarding process. So I just needed to go in and fix that. And I could have fixed it in minutes, but I wasn't paying attention to the right numbers. And so anyways, this is just one of those like lessons that you learn. But those kinds of things, they happen all the time, and it's different numbers that you have to be paying attention to at different times. And when you're doing it by yourself, when you're a solo founder, or even just a small team, you don't always have somebody looking at those things or paying attention or even remembering, like, hey, we made this change that might affect this. Like, let's watch those numbers. So anyways, that was the deal this time. Anyways, I think I'm going to wrap it up there for this episode. And yeah, that's that. I hope I didn't say too many times this episode.